Alright, this is chapter test B. This was the review for our test tomorrow. So I'm going to work on all these problems for you. Make sure you're following along. If you need to skip ahead to a problem, that's fine. So starting with number 1, I'm going to do this on a separate sheet of paper so I have enough room to write. Negative 7 equals negative 2 plus x. When I solve this, I'm going to add 2 to both sides because I'm trying to isolate the x. So negative 5 equals x, or x equals negative 5. Remember, you can always plug it back in to check. Right, number 2. b minus 2/5 equals 3/5. Now there's 2 ways you could do this. You could add 2/5 like normal, which is going to give you b equals 5/5, which is just 1. That's one way to do it. Or you could take and multiply each of those terms by the least common denominator. Remember, this was the trick we learned in class. So I could multiply every term by 5 if I didn't want to use the fractions. So that would give me 5b minus 2 equals 3. Add 2 to both sides. 5b equals 5. And then divide by 5. Notice, same exact answer. b equals 1 either way. Okay, both ways work here. This one actually happens to be a little less work, but if you make mistakes with fractions, this way will work as well. There's 2 ways you could have done that one. Alright, number 3. So it's negative 2/3 d equals 8. We have to undo a fraction. We never, ever, ever divide by a fraction. Instead, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal, which is negative 3/2. So over here I have 1d equals negative 12. Remember, you can always check this in the calculator. Alright, number 4. So number 4 says 17 equals 14 plus 6y. So the first thing we're going to do is subtract the 14 because there's an understood plus in front of it. Do that from each side of the equals. Those 3 equals 6y. Then divide by 6. So that gives us 1/2 equals y. You could also say that's 0.5. Okay, either of those would work because they're both exact. Alright, number 5. 2t minus 5t equals 9. These are like terms. So when we have like terms, we want to add them. They're on the same side. Put boxes around them or circle them, whatever you need to do. Make sure you keep the sign. So 2 plus negative 5, when you add those together, you get negative 3t. Then divide both sides by negative 3 to solve for t. So t equals negative 3. Number 6. 13 minus 9w equals negative 14. Remember, there's an understood plus in front of the 13, so we're going to subtract 13. Negative 9w equals negative 27. Then divide by negative 9. w equals 3. Remember, you can always check equations by plugging them back in to the original equation. You can always check this. Number 7. Oops. Set that up a little bit. 7m minus 4 minus 2m equals 6. Alright, I have some like terms. I have a 7m and I have a negative 2m. So 7 minus 2, or 7 plus negative 2, either way, is 5m. And then bring down the negative 4. You can't forget about him. Now it's just a 2-step. Add 4 to both sides. 5m equals 10. Divide both sides by 5. m equals 2. And you're done. Remember, you can always check right here in the beginning equation. Number 8. 3/4 times c plus 4 equals 3. Actually, I'm going to do this on a separate sheet of paper because there's two ways to do number 8. Okay, so the first way is to do the normal distribution. 3/4 times C, 3/4 times 4. Okay, then you would subtract 3. So 3/4 C equals, well, that's 0. Make sure you write the 0. And then multiply by the reciprocal. So either way, C equals 0. Remember, 0 is a possible answer. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is, instead of distributing, if you don't want to deal with that fraction, you can go ahead and multiply both sides by the reciprocal. So C plus 4 equals 4, and then just subtract 4 from both sides. So C equals 0. Notice the second way, if I zoom out, was a little less work, but both ways got me the same answer. Okay, you just need to be a little more careful here with fractions, but either way you can solve the problem. All right, number 9. Five times 3 minus 2y plus 4y equals 3. So this one we want to distribute because it has this extra term right here added on. So we have 15, 5 times 3, minus 5 times negative 2, which is negative 10y, plus 4y equals 3. Once again, we have our like terms here. I kept a sign in front. So 15, these right here, is negative 6y, so they equals 3. Well, subtract 15. There's an understood positive in front, so negative 6y equals negative 12. Divide by negative 6. So y equals 2. So that's number 9. Number 10. For x minus y equals 2 times 2x plus 3. Okay, once again, we want to start by distributing on the right. So 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times 3 is 6. Now this time I need to take the x to the other side, so I have to subtract it from both sides. When I do that, 4x minus 4x is 0, so I'm left with negative 1. 4x minus 4x is 0, and I'm left with 6. Now notice there are absolutely no x's left here. There's a number equal to a number, and this number does not equal 6. Because this is not equal, this is a no solution. If I had gotten 6 equals 6, if that's what this had said instead, then this one would have been infinitely many solutions, or infinitely IMS, or all real numbers. If I had negative 1x equals 0, that's an answer. X has an answer. You can divide by negative 1. X equals 0. So be careful between these 3 different answer selections. Number 10's answer is no solution because negative 1 does not equal 6. If it had been true, like 6 equals 6, it would have been infinitely many solutions. If there's ever a variable left, you have an answer. X can be 0. Right, number 11. 7a minus 3.9a equals 6.2. So the first thing I'm going to do is add these like terms. So 7 minus 3.9 is 3.1a. That equals 6.2. And then divide both sides by 3.1. So a equals 2. Alright. Last equation, number 12. Number 12 says 9 minus 5z equals 12 minus the quantity 6z plus 7. Remember, there's an understood 1 next to that parenthesis. So we're going to distribute a negative 1. So the left side works out fine. You don't need to worry about it yet. Bring down the 12. That's negative 6z when I multiply, minus 7. Now I need to combine like terms. So 12 minus 7 is 5. Now I have a decision. I can either add 6z or I can add 5z. I generally take the smaller number to the bigger. So 9 plus z equals 5. It would have worked just as well if you'd added the 5. Subtract 9. So z equals negative 4. There's my solution, and I'm done. Alright, number 13 is a word problem. So I'm going to leave it up here so we can actually look at it together. It says a new plasma screen television cost $5,250. A family makes a down payment of $552 and pays off the balance in 24 equal monthly payments. Write and solve an equation to find the monthly payment. So the first thing I want to do on number 13 is write an equation. We want to buy a TV that is $5,250. So that's my equals. I can immediately pay $552. That's a one-time payment. It's my down payment. And then every month I'm going to pay an equal amount. I don't know how much my monthly payment is. That's my X. But I know I'm going to make 24 of them. And because this is totaling, that's going to be adding. So there's my equation. Now I can subtract 552 from both sides. So 24x equals 4,698, and then divide it by 24. So each month we'd have to pay $195.75. Don't forget your units. A dollar sign goes in front. So there's my answer, and here's my equation. Alright, number 14. On a class trip, there were 45 more girls than boys. The total number of students on the trip was 211. Write and solve an equation to find the number of girls and the number of boys on the class trip. So this is number 14. We have some boys and we have some girls. And this equals a total of 211 students. So it's total number. Now they give us some information here about the girls. It says there were 45 more girls than boys. So I'm going to let my variable be B for boys. I don't know how many boys I have. But I know my girls are 45 more than the boys. So that means it's the same as the B plus 45. So if I have 100 boys, I have 145 girls. So this right here represents the girls, B plus 45. And this still equals 211. So now I have B plus B, which is 2B plus 45. Subtract 45 from both sides. So 2B equals 166, and divide by 2. So B equals 83. So there are 83 boys, but then how many girls do I have? Because they asked for boys and girls. So I use this expression right here, B plus 45. So I'm going to take 83 and add it to 45, and I get that there are 128 girls.